Will you pray for me? Lord, may the words of my lips and the meditations of all our hearts be acceptable in your sight, because you are our rock and our Redeemer. Amen. If you have a cosmology, that is to say, an understanding of this world and how it relates to any other worlds that might be out there. If you have a cosmology that assumes there's more than one world. So this world and heaven, this world and another world. More than one world separated from this one by time or by distance, or maybe by a thin veil, maybe separated by interdimensionality. If you believe there's more than one world, if you have a cosmology that has more than one world, this world and a heaven, then you have at least one question that you need to answer, which is this: how do you get from here to there? Almost every belief system, almost every religion down through the ages has believed that there's this plane, this world, and then some other world. Maybe more than one other world. Sometimes there's ones above and below. Sometimes there's ones elsewhere to the sides. But almost every belief system has assumed another world, at least one other one. And in most of them, you can get from here to there by dying. Or if you are a deity, if you yourself are a god, you might be able to move easily back and forth. But short of being a god and short of dying, they also always have at least one other way to move between here and there. And in most of them, that way is some supercharged version of something that people experience in nature. So the ancient Egyptians had to travel an uncrossable river to get to another world. The ancient Greeks and the Romans, they could travel a rainbow with the goddess Iris to get to the top of Mount Olympus. The ancient Norse myths assumed a rainbow bridge too, with a different deity, the Bifrost Bridge, that connected this world to Asgard, the realm of the gods. And they had not just a bridge, they had another way. If you were strong enough to climb the great world tree that held up all 7 Norse worlds, if you could climb it, you could move from one world to another. But in every one of these, this traveling, this moving from here to there, without dying or without being a god, is hard. Almost nobody can manage it. You have to be especially tricky, or maybe a demigod, to have any hope of success. Maybe that's what Zacchaeus had in mind that day when he heard that Jesus was coming to town. Zacchaeus, this little man, short of stature, who longed for something more than the daily grind. That regular rhythm of getting up and eating and working and eating and working again and going to bed. He longed for something powerful, for a glimpse of something beautiful, for a chance to peer just for a moment from this world into another. And he had heard that in Jesus, he might be able to do that. And so when he heard that Jesus was coming to town, there he was with the rest. And when he realized he wasn't going to get a glimpse from where he was standing on the ground, he said, I know how to touch heaven. I'll get up high. And so he climbed that tree, and that's where Jesus found him, trying to reach the heavens and not quite making it. And that's when Jesus said to him, Zacchaeus, not that way. You will not touch heaven by getting high. You will touch heaven by coming down here. So Zacchaeus, he climbed down, and then face to face, or maybe face to navel with Jesus. It does say he was a very short man. Face to face with Jesus, he finds himself changed. This tiny man who can't even see over the shoulders of the people in front of him, suddenly he finds himself lengthened, attenuated, extruded into something long enough to reach from heaven to earth. Do you know the word pontifex? Or maybe you've heard the word Pontifex Maximus. This is a Latin word. You can hear it these days in words like pontiff. Most people think the pontiff is the Pope. That's not true. All bishops are actually pontiffs. The Pope is just the pontiff of Rome. Pontifex means bridge builder. And in ancient Rome, the Pontifex Maximus, the great high bridge builder, the most excellent bridge builder, the most powerful bridge builder, was the high priest of that land. A priest is someone who stands between heaven and earth, who mediates between humanity and deity, who deals in the mysteries that arise when the two meet. Mediates, passes messages, communicates on behalf of God to the people and on behalf of the people to God. And so the Pontifex Maximus was the one who built the best bridges between humans and the gods. The best bridges that humans could manage, that is. Couldn't build a rainbow bridge that reached to Mount Olympus. Couldn't build an uncrossable river. Couldn't build a great world tree to climb, but could communicate between here and there. And that's the context in which Jesus and Zacchaeus were swimming. That's the kind of thing that people assumed was necessary. But here, on Reformation Sunday, on All Saints Sunday, it is worth noting that one of the most important insights of the reformers in the middle of the last century was this: everyone is a priest. They said everyone who's baptized is a priest. I'm not so sure of that. I'll just say everyone is a priest. They called it the priesthood of all believers. Everyone, they said, who knows and loves God can communicate between heaven and earth, can mediate between humanity and deity. Everyone who knows and loves God has the power to rip the veil open, at least enough for the world to get a glimpse of something beyond daily life. And that's what Jesus did for Zacchaeus that day. Turned him into a priest, turned him into a mediator, extruded him, extended him, lengthened him until that little short man was a bridge across which the people could travel between heaven and earth. There's something in us that wants this to be hard. There's something in us that wants heaven to be so big, so beautiful, so beyond our imagining that it must be hard to get there. That it must require something like climbing a rainbow or climbing a world tree or crossing an uncrossable river. We want it to be difficult because we worry that if it's not hard enough, then when we get there it will not have been worth it. But that is not how Jesus says it is. He says all you have to do is want it. All you have to do is long for God, and God is already working on you in that moment. God is already reforming you and your life and yourself. All you have to do is want it long enough, and the Pontifex Maximus, Jesus Christ, the great high bridge builder, will turn you into a bridge between heaven and earth, and will not stop there, but will turn you into a bridge builder too. The kind of person who, when other people meet you, find themselves being lengthened and reformed until they can touch heaven on their own. There's something in us that wants it to be so hard to pass through the veil and touch the love of the Creator of heaven and earth. We want it to be so hard, and the truth is, all you have to do is want it. Say amen.